earth was given to the hands of devils, and we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eye and tried to show you, make sure that you leave leaking. He said, want me in lockup? He said, don't you want the Benz vertible with the top up? Yeah. Stop, bitch, you get in that kitchen, let it rock up. Boy, especially when it's pop up. I know you know Ron. You the plug from by the block up. I'll tell you a little secret. Make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Ron got a Lexus, crib in Philly and Texas. Tripped the lip Bahamas, just got a bit for his mama. He fucking up in commas, be honest. Ron about a week ago. Fat, he ain't looking too good. His knees is kind of slow. I asked him why the struggle. He got stuck up for his bundle, but them 6 hollow tips in his living good. Said the feds took it all. He right back in the hood. I see you try to play me. You gave us cracking up babies and making hoes out of ladies. I know you got me gravy, but Satan, you must be crazy. It's gonna take more than cause when to amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars, but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds, so you don't faze me. I guarantee that you won't regret it. Remember I said it. No, I can't win. No, devil, nice try. So until we meet again, I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious, but we've been getting fucked and put to the side like a mistress. Police patrolling why? Because prison became a business. They murdered one of ours and they start talking about forgiveness. We think that it's alright because we got public assistance. If this ain't hell, dog, what is this? Where was all lives mattered when they killed Osama? There was no peace talk like the Dalai Lama. Bush dropping bombs saying he gon' bring the drama. They got justice, man, they even caught the Boston bomber. They send the military in armor. When we fight oppression, then our people die martyr. You reap what you sow, some people call it karma. With Christ's return, y'all gon' get this harvest like a farmer. Don't tell me don't bring up the past no more. They still trying to settle the score with a side of Shakur. I changed my life and I'm just trying to live life right. But at night I look behind me and see flashing lights, patting me down. You got nothing that's poking me right. I don't smoke or push pills, I gave up my vice. So Mr. Officer, why you wanna take my life? And your honor, why you gave a homeboy's life? I've been wondering why you shot a homeboy twice. Pussy with a gun screaming out that he got a knife. He came from Habibi's spot, it was chicken and rice. Shit's tripe, I'm just giving visuals like Skype. As Trayvon, Mike Brown, the Hot Girlie, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Philando, Olden, Sterling, Jaquan McDonald. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils, and we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils, and we seen the rise of the devil. I pray for the demise of the devil. Lord knows I despise every devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil and said, I pray to die every devil.
Word up, man. Voting ain't gonna help us, man. That's crazy as hell. Marching ain't gonna help us, man. Getting killed every day, still getting hurt. Protesting ain't gonna help us, man.
What it's like for a nigga like me.
Like me.
What it's like for a nigga like me. Likely, but I try to do the right thing like Spike Lee. And I talk to God, the one and almighty. Lord, please have mercy on me.
Have mercy on me.
Yeah. Lord, please have mercy on me.
Have mercy on me.
Have mercy on me.
It ain't no joke, man. This shit ain't no joke. Like the boy cry wolf, I ain't blowing no smoke. You don't gotta look far to see it. Ain't no hope in this fucked up world. I'm just trying to stay afloat. I grew up in the ghetto in the middle of the streets. H-E-L-L, the belly of the beast. Thanksgiving came around, I wasn't having no feast when the landlord talking about breaking out lease. Goddamn, what's next? I'm grown broken with your boy. She did it in the text that if I couldn't have nothing, that I could have love besides love for the money and selling these drugs. Sometimes it seems like it's the only way out, but every day I'm getting older and it's getting played out. Can't end up in the pen trying to find a way out. Lord forgive me for my sins, for my heart gave out. My dad died. Biggest loss I ever had to take. He a big part of the reason I'm the man I am today. And moving on was a move I wasn't trying. I got sons now, so I got. And even though success is looking unlikely, I stay mighty and pray nightly and remain doing the right thing like Spike Lee, which is hard in this life for a nigga like me. All my life I had to fight like my name's Sophia. Always had heart and in my heart was no fear. Though I stayed in some trouble, trouble always stay near. When you black in America, that's all you go here. I can't lie. Some days I want to break down and cry for me and my people that's fighting to stay alive. Cause living ain't living when you living to survive. Guess we living in hell till the heavens arrive. Nah, I mean,
What it's like for a nigga like me.
like me.
What it's like for a nigga like me.
Like me.
What it's like for a nigga like me.
Like me.
What it's like for a nigga like this isn't looking likely, but I try to do the right thing like Spike Lee. And I talk to God, the one and almighty. Lord, please have mercy on me.
Have mercy on me. Yeah.
Lord, please have mercy on me.
Have mercy on me.
Have mercy on me. What it's like in this life for a nigga like me. Every day I gotta fight my demons. Wake up, thank God I'm breathing. Cause all nightmares, America's dreaming. Trying to find a way to make it while surrounded by heathens. No stress long as I got a coat and I'm eating. I'm blessed and I know the most high's the reason. But my heart's bleeding through my sleeve is seeping. For all the things that I've been peeping. Type of shit make you say fucker than sleeping. Rocks while you were sleeping. During the evening, for brothers got gunned down over the weekend. Stretched out in the streets left leaking. Laid out white sheet moms grieving. All lives gotta have more meaning than another nigga dead in the paper I'm reading. Baby mama bitching every time that she's speaking. Talking like she gonna take the kids as she's leaving. How we go from kids to ending up in the deep end. Sink or swim, lose or win, saint or sin. Where does the change begin? And when does the bullshit end? Cause I wake up in the morning, gotta do it again. Go to sleep, go to work and just do it again. Damn. Can't pretend, cause when you stand out, it's hard to blend. And what I stand for, don't fold the bend. Cause I heard real folks still got too many friends. Cause when you speak the truth, then you tend to offend. So, while I'm gripping this pen, Lord, please have mercy on me. Amen.
It's time for my people to come together and rise up. The only way we gonna take our royalty back, man, is if we do just that, man. Take it back. Kwame Yashala, nigga. It's time for us to rise out of our oppression. A wise man told me each one teach one. So I need you to reach out to your brothers and sisters and teach them, man. There's no reason we should still be getting hung from trees in this day and age, man. Lord, please have mercy on me.
Because I'm willing to go against drug dealers. If they Muslim, if they Christian, if they atheist, if they Buddhist, if they shooting black men, guess what? I'm gonna say something about it. Because you know what? Just like you ain't going, like your boy said, it ain't gonna happen. Guess what? I'm not letting nobody sell you drugs without me saying that. I'm not gonna do it.
Trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed. I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire with rhythm man blues. Bullets baton smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find the red vex. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Feel like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good break. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good ship. Just when you in hell, how did you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, tell what I tell. No calling it cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword, with a style that they might just record. The only thing equal is the curse for the wicked and the righteous reward. Have mercy on the men that don't see it, separated from the tares. Now all my prayers and it's so big. A rebel, take the word by word of mouth. You I.S.U.P.K, we the rebels that you heard about. Yeah. And it ain't gonna stop till 100 virgins in the house and I'm handing verdicts out. 10 year rank, you ain't heard a clout. Without a shadow of a doubt, these devils hitting licks off us. Fuck the bank, I'm about to show the pocket, take it over. Can't sweep talk, cannot stop. Plus I know the feds watch cause I tell the people that they church full of witch doctors. Put us in prison, they stop violence. Meanwhile, I.S.U.P.K turn the rebels into rock wallers. They leave for mighty men, and now I understand things that never truly made sense. Like why I'm crying at this funeral for a criminal, knowing you ain't innocent. Standing between two priests, about to blaze on their heads, call it tough love. Look out for niggas just cuz, and wouldn't touch a white bitch with OJ's black gloves. Father, forgive me for my error. I'm forever by your side. In the first thing, or for my flaws. This the reason I'm alive. Thank God for this truth, cause for a long time was a rebel without a call. Look, man, first time I'm making Planet GEN.YAHANNA, man, here 3807. Rebel without a call. My little daughter with me. Open the door, he was dropping the truth on me and all that. Rebel without a call. Man, you know, you do your time, taking them out and training the hand-to-hand combat. Rebel without a call is the reason I'm alive. Thank God for this truth, cause for a long time was a rebel without a call. We're already dead. We're already beaten down. We've been beaten down for 400 years. We already got wounds inside and outside our bodies. How you gonna hurt us? You cannot threaten us. You cannot frighten us. We live in the most frightening places, under the most frightening conditions. We are immune to fear. We are immune to harm. You see what I'm saying? You have stepped into a cesspool. You are gonna get infected.
Shalom. Well, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, come out 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Command GEN.YAHANNA. Since 1969, we've been teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Natives our true identity according to the Bible, and see in the Holy Bible, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, saying we're the Lord's chosen people, and the only people throughout this book that the Lord gives a damn about. And of course, that our oppressor, the same man that came and stole our land from us over 400 years ago, the same man that forced us to march on the Trail of Tears, the same one that forced us into the reservations, put our children in the boarding schools, is nothing more than the devil the Bible speaks of. It's like it's saying today we're going to obviously be going over the coronavirus once again. Understand going into the civil unrest that's going to hit America so hard, and how it's going to be impacting our own communities of how things are going to play out with the riots that are going on throughout the land. You're saying, but if you want to get there, we're going to be in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 17. Go ahead and share the class. Tag every single Gadite you know. Understand, like the video. Do any and everything possible to help get this truth out. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same. So bear with me. If you got any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat. So I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. If I can't answer them, I'll get with the man above me. You're saying I'll get back with you next class. Give it a few more seconds. All right, let's get into it. Let's start on the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 17. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 17. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. It's like it. And so we know what's going on, inside the land of America today. With all these protests and ultimately riots that have broke out, over the the horrific death of brother George Floyd, who was mercilessly choked out by the police, choked to death. You understand? But it's not only American businesses, like T-Mobiles or CVS's, Walmart's, all these different conglomerates that are well known in America that are being affected by these riots, which we couldn't give a damn about, because that's our oppressors' businesses. That's something used to help fuel their economy and ensure that their nation stays rich. But it's like you. But we even have our own businesses that are being, vandalized, that are being, looted, and the most prominent one is up in, Minneapolis. You understand, where there were a handful of native businesses that were, had windows smashed in and people ran in and were, stealing, doing whatever it is that they could to, rob all the goods from the children of Israel, at least of what we had left. Because we already don't have much, in regards of businesses or like riches or savings, simply due to the fact of the condition that our people are in, as well as how America's society is set up against so-called Native Indians. It's set up so we can't have, solid incomes, therefore to develop, savings. It's set up so that we're, the least ones to get hired on, jobs. You understand? And a good bit of us, have some type of, record, or we got some type of, demon on us that is causing us to be addicts or alcoholics that won't make it so we can properly fulfill, job duties, which is another reason why a good bit of us don't get hired on. You see, but it all adds up. And with the looting that has happened to, even the most, minuscule of our businesses, even if it is just, 3 or 4, here or there that are being looted and vandalized. Us as a people, we don't have, the income to be able to, bounce back from this. We aren't going to be the top ones to be chosen by, the insurance companies to, have what we had, replaced.
You understand? We're just not gonna be amongst those people. That's for, you know, all these damn devils out here that have owned businesses, that have had their, you know, windows smashed in and their goods taken. You understand? And it's gotten to a point, especially in Minneapolis, to where, you know, not only do we not have the, you know, financial income to help back up our businesses, you understand, help us get back to where we were, but we also don't have the proper security from the, you know, police forces in our own communities to help protect what it is that's ours. You understand? So, you know what I'm saying, there was a damn essentially call to arms by the elders in the community out in Minneapolis. You understand? Asking for people in our community, so-called Native Indians, who have experience with, you know, weapons and, you know, handling certain people that'll be threats, you know, saying people who can, you know, give medical attention, and basically like first responders type deal. You're saying we're hiring our own people, putting them in harm's way, you know, to protect what is ours. When if things worked how they were supposed to in American society, you're saying we could, you know, simply call it into, you know, the law enforcement, and they come and ensure that what's ours is protected. Saying not saying, you know, we should be dependent on them regardless. And so we're supposed to be sticking to ourselves. So what this community is doing is, you know, the right thing to do. But at the same time, with all the faith that we have in America and how much we've believed in them and believe in their system, and, you know, just have this thought that, you know, we're in a different time, you know, saying we're, you know, accepted by most and all this other nonsense. You know, we should be able to have, you know, some type of relief. You know, saying we should be able to, you know, have some type of you know, just trust in these damn devils. But when we look at history and we look at all that these beasts have done to us, and I mean, truly, we can realize that all of this faith that we have in them, and, you know, believing in this, what the hell you want to call honor, or, you know, whatever it is that we believe as a nation, you're saying that we believe in their honor as, you know, protectors. You understand? History tells us completely, you know, differently. Understand? History tells us that these people are going to always be murderers. You understand? That they're always going to make sure that natives and blacks and Hispanics don't, and those offering protection themselves will be the ones targeting us as a nation. You understand? That's why it's important for us to recognize, no matter how much we love these people, you know, we can never truly, you know, join to them. We can never, you know, fully commit to being one with these people, because they're always going to turn their backs on us. I'm going to skip down to verse 18. Salakia. Verse 18. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. Someone was saying the fruit of thy body. Salakia. Saying it's talking about, you know, our children. I'm saying whether they're babies, I'm saying those in their adolescents, preteens, teens. It's saying well up into, you know, adulthood. You understand? But when we look at what is going on with all these, protests and riots that are happening across America, and shoot, really damn near, the earth. Is then we can always see where it is that it's not only Native Indian but Black and Hispanic teens that are, joining into these protests. You understand? It's the youth of our communities trying to go out and make a difference, a change for our people, especially with how we've been living in such low conditions for so long. But by doing so, that ultimately causes for our children to be sucked in to what it is that our oppressor is doing. And so our oppressor, he's out here and he's looting all these businesses. He's the one smashing the windows and spray painting. He's the one, torching cars and lighting dumpsters and trash cans on fire. The one out here beating people half to death. He's the one out here, seeking a physical altercation with the police. The one out here carrying lethal weapons with 100-round drum mags. That's what these devils are doing. And it's causing for our children, the future of our, nation to be sucked into it. And because they see a devil doing it, shoot, the thing, why can't I do it? Huh? Why can't I go out and, smash up some windows? Why can't I light some fires, rob some things? You understand? But that's always been the mentality that we've had as a nation, is, simply follow our oppressor. Saying whatever he does, we view as being, morally upright. You understand? We view that as something that, oh shoot, if I do what he's doing, I mean, I'm going to be set. And by doing so, not only the passes that led to the destruction of our nation, but I mean, even today, Slovakia, with these protests and riots that are going on, and with our youth that are following in the example of these devils, you understand? Most of these devils, they simply get away with a slap on the wrist. You understand? Even if that, they just get away, period. You understand? But with our children, you understand, we're going to be the ones gunned down in these streets. We're going to be the ones arrested and beaten and hit with, tear gas and tasers till we're goddamn dead. You understand? We're going to be the main ones suffering from this, which is why it's so important that we have to teach our children not to go in the ways of these heathens. You understand? Not to follow after this disgusting bastard known as the white man. You understand? Don't stinking, Arab or East Indian who's out there putting out messages, on social media saying, shoot, we don't forget, we never oppressed you guys at all. It was all the American government. It was all the white people over here. You understand? When all these nations have all had a hand to play in our destruction. You understand? They've all contributed to the condition that we're in as a nation. And some more than others, but shoot, that doesn't, completely negate the fact that these other nations still had a hand to play in it. And by us sitting there and following in, the ways of our oppressor throughout these riots and through these protests, it's going to do nothing more than, solidify that, stereotype that they've had of our people for so long. Just like it's done the same thing for, same thing for blacks and Hispanics. When we go out there, we do as these people do, they're going to say that we're savages. You understand? They sit there try to blame everything that's going on black people, so-called African Americans, and sitting there saying they're all nothing but gangsters, knowing damn well that it is people that's committing all these crimes. It's like remember that from the top. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 18. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land. So the fruit of thy land, like basically everything that is, a necessity in our land. So that curse will be like, our food, our livestock, you understand, our housing, you understand, anything that is of importance will be cursed in our lands. You understand, which I specifically want to touch on how, even with all the rioting and civil unrest that's going on inside of America's cities, and that's not always going to be just strictly limited to the cities. And just like any, like apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic, movie or scenario that is out there, you understand, you got all these goddamn people that end up migrating from the cities and heading out to the countryside. And heading to wherever it is that they can get some type of, supplies, where they can develop some type of, power for themselves. It's lucky. Which it's what's going to be happening once, all these cities have been, dried up and then halfway burnt down. You stand with nothing left but a rebel in these cities. Because with the way things are going, it's only going to ramp up more and more and more, especially with the National Guard coming in. You understand, these devils are going to get more reckless. You understand, potentially getting into, damn firefight with the National Guard, burning down, the whole goddamn city, stealing all the supplies, murdering each other in the streets to get supplies. And then that's going to end up migrating out to where, the sovereign nations are. These people that haven't really been touched by, all the riots, by all the fires. These people who, have tales of having, plenty of livestock and crops and housing for everybody. You understand? Just like in the past, you understand, the devil, made up all these fantasies of the new world. You understand, a place untouched, a place where you can go and get all these goods, you know what I'm saying? And the same thing is going to be happening after they get done, just wreaking havoc in the cities. And don't think that just because we are our own sovereign nations that these devils are going to respect that and leave it be, go do their own thing. You understand? They have always wanted what we have had as a nation, and it's always going to be like that. So no matter how it is that you look at it, it might not even be, strictly, all these, civilian devils. You understand? With the National Guard coming into all these different cities, I mean, there'll be a lack of supplies. You understand? It'll mean that, they have to get them supplies from somewhere. You understand? So that means that the National Guard could be marching on the reservations. You understand? They could be coming to your front door with armored vehicles looking for resources in order for them to resupply, the cities that have been destroyed by all these devils. You understand? We definitely got to remember and take note as a nation that no matter Slovakia, no matter how things are, understand, no matter what the period is, saying our oppressor will always take from us in order to ensure that his own nation survives. And without a doubt, you understand, these people definitely live on our territories and take as they please. You understand, an average citizen in the United States, has, some like borderline below military grade, weaponry and equipment. You understand, these devils are training more and more and more to get on you could say par with the military. Saying that's the nature of these people. The increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. And if you didn't know, kind is cattle. So curse is the increase of thy cattle and the flocks of thy sheep. And so that has to go into whenever, these devils get tired of tearing things up in their own, cities, what would be their own, lands, with us being our own sovereign nations, having our own lands. You see, when they get tired with that and they move into our own territories, you see, with all these rumors and dreams of these wonderful things inside the land of the sovereign nations, you understand? These devils are, that's self-explanatory. These devils are going to be taking our cattle and taking our sheep in order to feed themselves and their own nation. Meanwhile, leaving us with nothing, leaving us to starve out there in the goddamn boonies, not giving a damn about a single one of us, which is how it's always been for us as a nation. You understand? These people have always been starving us out since they arrived on this continent. You understand? In these lands. Even when we're supposed to be getting, assistance from the government themselves, understand, with treaties put into place and promises, we're always left to just starve. You understand? We're left to die of dehydration, to die of sickness. And it shouldn't be anything new for our people. But when these things happen, it's going to be such an astonishment to us as a nation. We're going to be so goddamn surprised that, America would do this to us, to the indigenous people of these lands. When we've known since day one that these people have never given a damn about us, and they will never give a damn about us. I'm going to go to verse 21. Actually, I'm going to go back up to verse 17 real quick. Because one thing I wanted to touch on, regarding how, native businesses are being vandalized, broken into, and looted. You understand? But there's another important point to touch on for our people, for us to get the right to get right, spiritually. You understand? Because, this ain't just physical. You understand? Everything is spiritual, especially with what's going on in our own communities and how we view ourselves as being, either just the sole indigenous inhabitants of this land. We view ourselves as being one with some, disgusting Indians. And shoot, I saw a damn news article came out. It's like, I believe it was late last week, saying that we had some type of tie with some devils in Russia. It's saying, but Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 17. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. And so we know that our businesses in particular are being looted. You understand that they're being destroyed, windows smashed in, spray paint everywhere. You know what I'm saying? The whole shebang. You understand? But it's not only happening to us, you're saying, as a people, it's also happening to the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics. I'm saying where the same exact thing is happening to them. Saying, and it's not, our people, as in blacks, Hispanics, and natives, 12 tribes of Israel, that are sitting there and breaking into our own businesses. Instead, we're not the ones, doing all this robbing. It's these devils that's doing it to us. And these devils know who it is that owns this business or that business. They know an African owns that, an Arab owns that, a Chinaman owns that, it's in a Korean, this and that, and so on and so forth. You understand? But we gotta recognize that everything that is happening to us, you said so-called Native Indians, it's also happening to our brothers. And when I say brothers, I mean only blacks and Hispanics. I don't mean no other nation out there, because not all of us are brothers, not all of us are the same. You understand? Ain't no spirit out there that wanted us all to be the same. Ain't no spirit out there that wants a unity between everybody. You understand? But we're going to skip down to verse 21. Slovakia. Verse 21. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave onto thee. Slovakia. I'm saying, so the Lord make the pestilence cleave onto us. You're saying he'll make, all these different sicknesses, cling on to us as a nation. You're saying he'll make them slacking. So when it says cleave onto, that's like it'll hit, hard as a nation. It hit us harder than, you know, most nations out here. Which, well, you can look at, you know, like smallpox, the Spanish flu, the measles, saying all these different diseases or plagues, if you will, that have ravaged our communities in the past. You know, there's a reason why it is that they have always, you know, hit us the hardest out of anybody. It's in us and the Hispanics, and so-called African Americans. You know, meanwhile, all these other nations have built up, you know, some type of immunity quickly at that. You understand? But it doesn't end, you know, at a certain, you know, period of time with these plagues, with all these curses in this book right here. You understand? They're always going to be, you know, hitting us back to back to back until we come back to keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave us as a nation. You understand? So when it says that the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave onto thee, when it makes these plagues or these sicknesses, you know, just hit our nation hard as hell. You understand? We can look at the coronavirus for a perfect example. Especially out in, you know, New Mexico, like out in the Navajo Nation, and, you know, natives, and, you know, all that have left and gone to all different cities, as well as other reservations inside of those lands. You understand? There was a report that came out recently that said that, you know, natives make up, it was 57% of the confirmed, you know, COVID-19 cases. So over half of, it's like, so over half the cases that have been, you know, confirmed in that whole state, you understand, it's predominantly, you know, Native Indians. And it's bad, especially when we only make up like, it was like 10 or like 11% of the population in New Mexico. But yeah, we are, you know, the ones most affected by it. And that is without a doubt showing you who it is that the Lord's chosen people are. You think, because no other nation is being affected like that. You understand? It's especially when we're a minority, and in such, you know, large numbers of us are being, you know, affected by this pandemic, this virus that the Lord has sent upon the face of this earth, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. Slack it. Saying, so there's, you know, just speaking on New Mexico, saying there's thousands of confirmed cases. Man, I don't remember the exact deaths that New Mexico, more specifically on the Navajo Nation. Last time I checked, it's like, let me look real quick. It's a lot. Well, last time I checked, there was a couple, you know, 100 deaths from the COVID-19 just in the Navajo Nation alone. That's not speaking on, you know, I believe it's like the two other reservations in those lands. You understand? And whenever there's always some type of pandemic or plague that the Lord has unleashed, you know, our people always seek to, you know, find some type of refuge away from, you know, all this sickness, from all this, you know, disease, that is ravaging our communities. So just like in the past, whenever we were hit with the smallpox, the Spanish flu, the measles, you understand, we always fled into every single direction we could, into all the different lands, hoping to get away from this sickness. So hoping that just maybe it wouldn't reach us. Maybe we could just wait out a little bit until it passes. You understand? And the same thing can be said about today. You understand? We flee the cities to go back to the reservations. You understand? We might flee the reservations to either foolishly go to the cities, or to try to go to our Hispanic brothers. You understand? But our Hispanic brothers, as long as so-called African Americans, are also getting hit hard with this COVID-19. You understand? All 12 tribes are suffering from this coronavirus without anybody offering any type of solution for us as a nation, offering any type of real help that is gonna prevent what's going on. Because it's well known, and the native Indian community, that our healthcare is not nowhere near being Tawab. You understand that there's only like 30% of us, at least out in the Navajo Nation, that have access to water. You understand? So we can't properly wash our hands like that. You understand? Everything that we need in order to survive this pandemic that's going on, it's either not being supplied to us, or it's hard for us to reach. And with all these National Guards getting deployed and all these riots and protesters, it's going to be even harder for us to reach these supplies as a people. We're going to skip down to verse 23. Give you a second to get there. Slide. All right, let's get it. Verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. It's like it is talking about, specifically is, us being, the prisoners of war of our oppressor. You understand? Being locked up in their prisons, in their jails. You understand? And be our women, being held captive as, sex slaves, or being, human trafficked. So what we're going to be going into is, are people being locked up in these different jail cells or prisons, especially with what's going on with these different, riots that are happening across America, and with our people going out and participating in these protests and in these riots, thinking that, by doing so, it's going to cause our oppressor to, all of a sudden, just flip some switch and, recognize his wrongdoings, recognize the what he's doing to, blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians is, totally out of pocket. When it's just not something that these people are capable of. And when us as a people get involved in these, different protests, these marches, and riots, all these different things, we're always, the ones that are sought out, always the ones that are targeted, and ultimately, caught by our oppressor and thrown into, jails or prisons. And that's just always the way that America has been when it comes to our people. You understand? When it comes to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we've always been the number one to fill the jail cells, to fill the prisons. You understand? We're always the first to be, profiled and harassed and beaten and ultimately killed by these police officers. And especially with how intense these, protests and riots are getting, with it spreading all across the United States, and, with these different devils going out and burning, buildings down and burning up cars and throwing bricks through the back windshields of, police cars, and, all beating people half to death, saying all these different things. Us as a nation, we got to make sure that we stray far from what it is that our oppressor is doing. You understand? Because if we sit there these ways, even just marching, there was a damn voice recording that came out. It was earlier today, saying of Trump with his, governors, letting them know how they got not only have to be harsher on protesters, but anyone that's arrested at the protest, give them at least 10 years. You understand? Make sure that these people know not to do this again. You understand? They are not about to sit there and lock up their own nation for 10 years for hold a goddamn sign. You understand? For sitting there and saying no justice, no peace, and whatever the garbage it is we say, trying to seek some type of seek some type of sympathy from our oppressor. You know, saying they're going to strictly be targeting blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's as simple as that. Understand? There's a reason why we are always the ones on the news, who have been, either beaten or killed or, arrested and beaten inside jail cells, police cars, goddamn prison cells. There's a reason that we're always the ones targeted. And we got to make sure that we, keep a note of, no matter how it is things are, we're always going to be the ones, to be ultimately oppressed, to be ultimately destroyed as a nation. We're going to go to verse... We're going to go to verse 25. Give you a second to get there. Verse 25. Actually, Slacky, my bad. Slacky. I'm going to skip 25, go to 28. Slacky. That's my bad. I'll give you one more second to get there. All right, verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness. Like it. You're saying, so the Lord will be making us, go, crazy as a people. You understand? Especially those of us that are, participating in, these protests or just, believe in the Black Lives Matter movement. And when I say that, it's because when we're physically in these protests, you understand, it's like, and we're out here and we are, just absolutely tearing shit up, slacking my language. Just saying, we're breaking windows. We're stealing things, setting fires, taking bribes from, undercover devils to go and create havoc somewhere. And joining hand in hand with our oppressor and trying to stop our oppressor from oppressing us. You understand? All of this is straight, madness. It's absolutely crazy to even think about. You saying, if you're just carrying on with your everyday life and you just see someone run up and throw a damn brick through a window, you're going to think they're crazy. If they're out here and they're starting fires in stores or in trash cans or setting cars on fire, you're going to think they've lost their goddamn mind. You understand? If you sat there and you looked at, we'll take something that is well known. If you look at a Jewish man joining hand in hand with a goddamn German or even a Nazi, you don't even have to be a Nazi. you think they've lost their goddamn mind. But yet, us as a nation, we just lose sense of everything. You're saying we go out and we do, just the wildest things, knowing damn well that it doesn't make any goddamn sense for us to be doing these things. You're saying it don't make any sense for us to follow after white people and start vandalizing and looting and setting fires and sitting there trying to come up against a small military such as police force or the National Guard. And these type of things, they don't make any type of sense, but yet us as a nation, and when I say us as a nation, I mean us as a whole, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we are the top ones that are following after our oppressor. And we're the top ones that think, oh shoot, I saw this white man do it, so shoot, that means I can go do it. You're saying clearly, if he's doing it, it means it's okay. Knowing damn well that an hour from now you're gonna get shot in the goddamn face by some officer or white supremacist because you're following in the ways of their people. You understand? Their ways are not for us as a nation. You understand? Their ways are not for us as an individual even. You understand? We're supposed to be following and the ways of this Bible right here, the ways that the Lord intended for us as a nation. Slack and this saints blindness. That's like your sense of awareness. So with us joining hand in hand with all these these devils and Asians, East Indians, Africans, all these different heathen nations, we completely throw out everything that has ever been done to us by these people, and we're not even aware of the hatred that these people have for us as a nation. We're sitting here following all their ways, thinking that this is building some type of unity amongst all of us, a unity amongst every spirit on this earth, every people, however it is you want to put it. When these people know exactly what they're getting us into whenever we follow them. You understand? They know that if they can get us to go out and rob, you understand, and to throw bricks to the back of cop car windows, they know that it's going to result in our death. You understand? It's going to result in the U.S. government coming down harder on the heads of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? And it's not just natives inside the reservations. That's got to do with us as a whole. You understand? A community. Whether we are in the res, in a city, in a small town. You understand? Our actions affects the whole nation. You understand? Just like Slacky. So just like like news coverage, they sit there and they blame all of this on blacks. You understand? Devils that are committing all these acts, devils that are paying people to go out and commit these acts. You understand? But yet it reflects on us us as a whole, like I'm saying, as a nation. And this is definitely something that we have to be aware of as a people, because if not, it can have some serious backlash on our communities and the cities. You understand, and in our communities in these small towns. You see, no matter where it is that we are, saying everything has a repercussion. Saying they sit there and they catch, that's a single native protesting or even looting. There's going to be hell to pay for our people, just like there's being hell to pay for, our brothers, so-called African Americans. Saying our Hispanic brothers have been paying hell out in them, goddamn concentration camps known as ICE facilities. And blindness and astonishment of heart. Astonishment, that's like, being surprised. So we can look at, how is the, our oppressors out here doing all types of, wicked and foul things, during these protests, and we try to follow in his example. And then when a police officer or a civilian or white supremacist there to keep the peace, sits there and guns us down or beats us half to death, saying how it is that we're not seen or treated equally amongst these people. And it's astonishing. It's so surprising to me that even up until today that we still believe with all our hearts and all our minds that we can be equal with these goddamn devils. That we will be seen as something more than savages to these savages. You understand? Because that's how they view us. You understand? And that's how they will always view us, as a people, no matter what it is that we do, no matter how Europeanized we get. You understand? No matter how much we sit there and pledge our loyalty to America, these people are going to see us as nothing more than beasts. And when they come out and they show this, they show us their true feelings, we're just so surprised. We're so heartbroken at what it is that this damn beast has done, what this devil has done. You understand? It's their nature. You understand? That's what has always truly been in their hearts. And the same thing applies for blacks and Hispanics as well. You understand? We're always so surprised when these people show their true nature. When we should fully be used to it by now. So we should know how it is that our oppressor works. Slack you. Understand? So when we sit there and we get, no help with the COVID-19, no, relief funds from the government that have been promised to us, and we're like, how could you do this to us? And you made us a promise. You sat there and you signed, papers. You told us, you would help us out, that we wouldn't have to suffer through this alone. And we truly believe these devils, no matter what it is that they do. You understand? And these devils have been lying to us since they landed on these shores in 1492. So when they came and we're talking about, oh, well, we come in peace. Saying we came here to ensure that your nation grows to be greater and mightier than you've ever been. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the nature of the devil, is to deceive. You understand? Is to lie. And after he's made, 500, plus treaties with us and not kept a single goddamn one, I mean, there's got to be a certain point in which, these people, like, their words and their promises hold no weight with us. You understand? Hold no meaning. Instead, it's lucky. It's lucky. Go to verse 31. Give you a second. Right, let's get it. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes. It's like, understand? So this goes into, when it is that these devils finally, decide to move out of the cities and, travel into the different, countrysides, looking to find, some type of food or water to help sustain them. You understand? Because once, things get worse here, you understand? Once, martial law is put into place, you understand, and it's damn near impossible for these devils to get them food and water, they're going to start coming to the reservations. And they're going to start, making all of these, rumors and fantasies of how it is that the reservations are. You understand? And when they get there, I mean, so, you understand, they're going to take, take our livestock, slay our animals in order to feed themselves, in order to, make sure that their own families can survive. And, no matter how much, it's lucky, no matter how much, love we have for these people, or even, firepower and self-defense that we have, I mean, these devils, they're gonna, ultimately overcome us. And they're gonna ultimately take any and everything that they want. It's lucky, because to simply put it, we don't have the Lord with us right now as a nation. You know, we don't have some great spirit out there that is watching over us as a people, no matter how much we want to, believe so, no matter if we want to believe the ancestors are going to watch over and guide us, that the Mother Earth will protect us and provide for us, all these different things. It's just not the case. You understand? All these different things, you know, they just aren't going to get the job done. They never have throughout the history of our nation that we have, believed into essentially spirituality. It's never helped, so-called Native Indians. It's never helped so-called his so-called African Americans. There's only one true power that has helped our people, and that is the God of Israel. You understand? The Most High God, the God in this book right here. You understand? The nigga God, you call him. You understand? That's the only power that is for Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, and the only power that has ever and will ever help us as a nation. And thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. So this is, a breakdown of what's going to happen once all these devils and different heathen nations decide to, venture out into the countryside, venture out spectacular lands of the sovereign nations. You see, and they're going to take everything that it is that we have. You understand? They're going to take our livestock. You understand? Our, goats or sheeps, our, cattle, just all these different things from us in order to sustain themselves. Lucky. Let's go to verse 43. Give you a second to get there. All right, let's get it. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. So who's this, stranger that is, within the nation of Israel? Understand that is mingled amongst us. See, the stranger is, all these different heathen nations. But, of course, the main thing we're going to be focusing on with this being, the captivity that we're in is going to be, the white man or our oppressor. Understand? So the white man is going to be getting up, high above us as a nation. And we know that he's, shoot, out of our reach and staying far out of our grasp, just based off of what has been going on recently in the earth. And staying with what's been going on with the COVID-19, Slovakia. You understand? So you can look at, for instance, how it is that we can't even get, proper, food shipments in, water shipments, medical supplies into our reservations as a whole all across the United States. Saying the most they've sent us is some goddamn, body bags when we ask for, proper assistance on COVID-19, because so many of us are out here getting sick. Since so many of us are here, just dying from this virus. And the devil being the devil, he sent us a bunch of body bags. You understand? He ain't sending nothing to help heal our people, to help ease our suffering. But instead, he just sent us a black goddamn bag. We just put your people in, and that's that. So meanwhile, you look at the cities in the United States. Yes, and they were talking of there being shortages, but yet, places are getting plenty of shipments of food, water, medicine, you understand, clothing, all these different necessities into their stores. And on top of that, I mean, they got the top of the line, hospitals and testings for the COVID-19. You understand that alone shows you, how far below we are of our oppressor, where we get body bags and they get all the good stuff. You understand? They get all of the necessities and they get all the medical, testing and supplies that are needed in order for them to thrive and survive as a nation. You understand? And then you can go and you can look at, what's going on with these riots and these protests. So these devils can go out and literally just throw bricks through the back windshields and inside windows of cop cars, and nothing happens to them. You understand? They can set entire buildings on fire, sending it crashing down, and nothing happens to them. You understand? But you let a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian just walk on the street. You understand? Just walk holding a sign alone, and shoot, we're liable to get shot. You understand? Trump sat there and said, then give them niggas 10 years minimum. And the police, they always gonna do their own thing. They always gonna sit there and abuse their power and just cause all type of physical as well as mental harm to us as a nation. You understand? Because all the stuff that we go through, especially with these brutalities, it all has a psychological effect on individuals. I'm saying on a nation of people. It's like, and that shall come down very low. Understand? So we out here, we get no justice for what is going on with our people. Understand? You can look at George Floyd, the brother that was ruthlessly murdered by that devil cop. And he still has not had any type of justice for himself. You're saying it recently came out that his family paid for their own personal autopsy of his death. You understand? It came out that he died of asphyxiation, because all these devils were out here trying to say, oh, well, a knee on a throat can't kill nobody. And they're out here making a mockery of that brother's death, posting selfies online of, two devils smiling with one of them on the ground and a knee on his neck, sitting there saying, oh, I'm still alive. I'm still alive. This for all the race baiters, what the hell they call it, trying to cause tension amongst the people. You understand? That's what these beasts do, is make a mockery of our death. And we can't even get any type of justice for it. You understand? That just goes to show you the hatred that this nation and its people have for the 12 tribes of Israel, for the Lord's chosen people. And the only way for us to come up out of this captivity and to stop suffering at the hands of these damn animals is to come back to keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave us as a nation. And the only way to do that is to come into the I.S.U.P.K under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. Because ain't nobody else going to teach our people, what it is we're supposed to be doing as a nation. It's not no Christian pastor. It's not no, spiritual, guide or whatever the hell you want to call it. You understand? It's the true priests and prophets of the Lord. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up the class. So I'm going to get into these closing announcements and then these prayers. I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. It means tenth in the Hebrew. Ma'ashara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. It's a free will offering for priests. It's not mandatory. It's whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. I have to get back with you on that the next class. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or a war scarf. With that said, I majum, which means to stand. Wapunya hakwadum, which means turn and face the east. We're going to start out with the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanaru, Shabashamayim, Quadash, I.S.U.P.K, Ya'awu, Malakwaka, Daba'a, Ratazaika, I.S.U.P.K, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Bashamayim, Nathan, Lanawu, Lagum, Call, Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kabo Wathanawa, Kasolakanawa, Kabo Wathayanawa, Wala'a, Dabayainawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Hawashayanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wahala, Wathaparith, La'awalamyam, Aman. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Amen. The prayer for the cock, or the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Baba Kashach, Nathanahu, Hakak, Hakak, La Rapa'ah, Kal Makalah, Wakal Marawa, Hakak, Latahar, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, La Hakim, Hamathium, Hakak, Al Rakawath, Hatama Lagarshan, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the water Aman. Prayer for the power in English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushai, thank you. So be it. Prayer for the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, wa Yahushai, Bam Yaka'al, Walahayim, Matazab Yah, Alawap Yahanna, Halawapim, Hazaranyam, Hakwatazayanyam, Hakayayayam, Wahakwathim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the one Aman. Prayer for the blessings in English. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushai, and Mike, and the angels, commanding General Yahanna, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, and the name of God. Thank you. So be it. Living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curse heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the pockets of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nations and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posse Comitazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airways, the cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and destroy. Cause the plagues to come against America and destroy them in their strongholds. Let America shake. Let Yahushua, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and destroy all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahushua, in the name of Yahushua, thank you. Always so be it. Sar, which means the term. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers, men of Israel. Imajim Shabbat. Imajim Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barak Adam is Matah. Give a courtesy salute to the sisters, men of Israel. Imajim Shabbat. Imajim Barak. Yahweh Shemar Al Dan by Shem Yahushua is Matah. Class dismissed.